Hi guys, Legendary Basil Games here. This is my first theory in a little while, so I'm going to try to explain as much as I can in the time that I have. But I'm going to explain something on the Happy Mask Salesman. I think that I might have a theory on what kind of a character he is. So my theory comes in that he might actually be an anti-hero, and to explain this, I need to explain what he does as a character in Zelda Majora's Mask. So, I think he might actually be a deity in Zelda Majora's Mask, and possibly has reality-changing warping abilities. I think that actually he might be a reference to Thanatos in ancient Greek mythology, and as far as Thanatos has an abilities in terms in Greek mythology, has an equally as interesting as it is disturbing backstory. He works for Hades, which is the god of death and pretty much destruction in any way you can even think of it to be. Thanatos is a guide to death. He is like a guide to Hades, or a guide to wherever the soul is going. He's a soul guide. So if they go to bad guys or good guys, then he's the person that, well, the entity that guides them to that place in their lives. And he's seen as a gentle, naive figure. He usually is peaceful. His gentle nature is usually viewed as a painless way to die when he takes the person to their place of resting, but it is controversial due to its subject matter. I also believe and think that the Happy Mask Salesman might at one point been a villain, but due to his horrible actions and things that he did by opening up the Stone Tower Temple and obtaining the masks he also has in his possession, and by selling the happy masks, those were to redeem himself from his villainous actions and trying to make people happy from doing horrible things in his life. I think while opening Stone Tower doors, it is possible that he created the Majora's Mask. He may have even, the temple may have at one point even been his. Maybe he's the one that created the Stone Tower Temple. We don't really know a lot about the place in general. Or maybe in some way he was in a way of spiritual significance to that temple. Maybe while creating that mask, he created something that was to be worshipped and feared, because we know that it's feared and people hate it for its existence. And maybe by him creating that mask, that's why the whole battle went down in Stone Tower, and that's why the doors are thrust open. Maybe he went back there to take back the mask, but he didn't realize that the entity that he created was still in that mask. Sorry, huge, like a fly buzzing around my face. But anyway, he created that mask, and in doing so, he destroyed a lot of people's lives. And from doing these things, he's trying to redeem himself by making other masks to make up for the actions of his former past that is to be forgotten. His task to have you obtain the mask was also an attempt at redemption, and creating the mask was his own personal worst mistake that he ever did. Oh, one stupid video, okay. But creating that mask was his own personal worst mistake, and it was costing him the lives of innocent bystanders, people in the world of Majora. Because and the reason you go to like this world, Majora, is to free the inhabitants of his recent crisis by the moon crashing down on their town and killing everybody. And destroying everything in its path and trying to... Basically, you're the hero. You're there to stop the current crisis. But you're also there to figure out what you're going to do with your life, too. So it's a journey for both of you. And maybe in the game, your role not only is to set the other inhabitants, like, free of their own worries, but also to set the happy mask salesman free of his own worry and aid him off on his own journey. Because it looks like he's a wanderer, just like you, Link. You as the player. I think your role in the game was to come and aid him off on his journey, and he needed that satisfaction to aid him into the next phase of his life. So, in this way, basically he was not solving the issue as a person. He created the issue, but he didn't have the power to stop it. Maybe that's why he needs you, Link the hero, to go and stop the villain, because when he created the mask, it might not have been so powerful and so evil, and maybe it didn't have an entity inside of it. Maybe he created it, but he was powerless to stop the destruction. And there's nothing that he could do, because maybe in this process, somewhere along the line, he lost the power and the ability to control the mask entirely, or even have anything to do with it. And maybe Stone Tower Temple even was his residence at one point. Maybe he was inside the tower. Maybe he was the person pulling the strings the whole entire time with that temple. Maybe he created it. Maybe he ordered it to be constructed. I don't know much about that part of the theory, but I think that maybe he is responsible for creating the happy mask. Salesman, part of his persona. Looking at my notes here. And he wanted to die a fulfilled individual. He wanted you to end the game. He wanted you to stop the game that Majora's Mask is. He wanted you to set him free of his problems and save the world and be the hero that you are in the game. I think that's kind of what it is. And it was chaos for him and everyone involved, and he kind of feels like a victim, but at the same time, he's the one who created the issue. So, in my eyes, maybe he's not all the villain. Maybe he is unknowingly what they call an anti-hero. He was once a villain, but now he's an anti-hero by doing redeeming actions to redeem himself from villainous acts in the past. And maybe that's where he gets the happy mask salesman persona from, is that he wants to be happy, and he wants other people to be happy by performing those kind of actions. But I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, do all of that happy stuff. I'll see you next one. Bye-bye.